Everybody to this wonderful celebration of the 20th anniversary of the establishment of the JRE's professorship here at MIT. I'm Joe Sussman, and it's been my singular honor to have held that chair since it was founded 20 years ago in 1991. And I will be the master of ceremonies for this celebration. And just to show you what you are facing, I'll make a few introductory remarks. Then Mr. Masaki Ogata, Vice Chairman of JRE, will speak, followed by Professor Claude Canizares, Vice President of Research and Associate Provost at MIT. And last but not by any means least, we will have a celebration after the speeches right next door with some very nice mid-afternoon snacks of both Japanese and American style food. So if you like sushi, stay around for the whole thing, and we'll have a celebration. So the story starts of this relationship between MIT and JR East with a visit to the MIT campus in 1990 of Mr. Yamashita, who was at that time the chairman of JR East. And it was his vision of having JR East reach out internationally to the research community that led to the formation and the establishment of this chair. So Mr. Yamashita visited the Institute along with others, and he gave a speech to the School of Engineering about what his vision was for the relationship between MIT and JR East, and talked about a long-term relationship, recognizing that these things don't happen overnight. One needs to work to build a relationship of trust and productivity between institutions that are not only in different countries, but are in radically different businesses. The research and education institution and a major transportation company. So he talked about the idea of building a systems-based enterprise that would be of value, one that would focus on the needs of customers for the railroad, and one that would focus importantly on safety, which is viewed as a prime characteristic of railroads, and JR East is in the forefront from a safety perspective as well as others. So that speech was, in fact, is still discussed from time to time here at MIT 20 years after the fact, because it was so insightful and deep that the colleagues at the Institute were very much taken with that visionary point of view. Now, the next chart, the next PowerPoint, is Tokyo Station in Tokyo, of course. And I put it up there to symbolize my first time where I was able to spend some individualized time together with Chairman Yamashita. Because in 1991, there was this event we called the Technoplaza, JR East called the Technoplaza, which was a demonstration of a variety of their kinds of technologies. So I was invited to participate in the Technoplaza, and it also became the site at which the chair was introduced to the Japanese public. And I remember being very taken by the tour of the floor of the exhibition that I took with Mr. Yamashita, and watched how he talked to all the young engineers about the work they were doing, and it was clear that those engineers were extremely impressed by by the attention that was being given to them by the chairman, a very charismatic man, and it gave me a strong sense that we would have a good relationship, a good partnership with this organization. So, as I said, building these relationships takes time. We've been at it 20 years, and we're continuing to build it. J.R. East has sent many, many students to the Institute to study. They have sponsored research of a variety of sorts over the years. We have endeavored to provide a strong intellectual home for the J.R. East people who traveled here to study and to perform research. And we also work to provide a comfortable environment, an environment in which people far from home could feel welcome. And indeed, this became kind of a family affair. My wife of 48 years, Henry Ann Sussman's in the audience, and she, on many occasions, opened our home to the visitors from J.R. East and their spouses. And in fact, she became sort of a figure in and of herself to the wives of the people who were sent here, the gentlemen who were sent here in the early days. And it became kind of a ritual that when I would travel to Japan, when the word got out that Henry Ann Sussman was coming to Tokyo, accompanying her husband, this bevy of wives would descend upon her, whisk her away, and I wouldn't see her for 3 or 4 days, but she seemed to be having a good time. But it suggests more seriously that people are a very important part of this overall process. Building a relationship between organizations really means building a relationship between individual people. And in the package that you were given when you registered, you'll see this lovely notebook, booklet that was prepared by J.R. East that traces out the history of the relationship with some vignettes from some 10 or so of the many people who have traveled here, so you can get some sense of how we have worked to build this connection between these two great institutions, J.R. East and MIT. So I'd like to thank J.R. East, Mr. Ogata, Mr. Arai, and others who have accompanied him for their commitment to building the relationship and to establishing the close bonds with the institute that you have. I want to thank my many colleagues who've worked with me over the years here at MIT to build that relationship by supervising students and by participating in research. I see Daniele Veneziano in the audience as one who worked with many JRE students in the areas of safety and earthquakes over the years. So it's been an institute-wide kind of initiative, not simply one-on-one type relationships between say Mr. Ogata and me, but rather extending to a large number of people who we network with. So that gives you some introductory sense of why we're here today, 20 years after the fact, to celebrate this the establishment of the chair. And just to conclude, let me show you two other photographs. One is the gentleman who I'm talking with, I'm on the far right, of course, is Mr. Matsuda, who at that time was the president of JR East, and Mr. Aramori, who in those days ran the research activities at JR East. And I always had an opportunity when I traveled to meet very senior people who also worked to make me understand the importance of a long-term relationship. And then, more currently, and as a segue to our next speaker, this is a photograph taken in the Dean of Engineering's conference room just about a year ago, almost to the day. I think it was October 15th of 2010, where we had a research session and talked about the celebration. So you see me, I see Sanjay Sama down to my left, who's also here with us today, and Mr. Ogata, and I can't quite from this angle see who everyone else is, but you can see that we're deeply engaged in substantive discussions of important issues, both from an MIT and from a JR East point of view. So we have, of course, Mr. Ogata here with us, the vice chairman of JR East, and a good friend personally and a good friend of the Institute. And we very much look forward to hearing what he has to say to us. Thank you. Thank you.
So thank you very much for introducing me, Professor Sussman. Now I'm just prepared. Here. Yeah, thank you. So good afternoon, Provost Canizares and Associate Dean of Engineering Van Hart, and also Professor Sussman, of course, and Dr. Onatovsky for the MIT liaison program. And also we have welcomed already Consul General of Japan in Boston. Thank you very much for attending. And also, and all the other distinguished guests and ladies and gentlemen. As kindly introduced, my name is Ogata, Vice Chairman of GREs. It is really a great honor and pleasure to be here at the MIT and share a great time to celebrate the 20th anniversary between MIT and GREs. I'd like to extend special greetings to all of you on behalf of all the members of GREs. Now I move to just my presentation, just my speech. So of course, today is a great day for 20th anniversary of GREs and MIT. And this picture, special picture, shows you the inauguration of our very special relationship, just of course 20 years ago. And Sumida-san, the first president of our company, was still just very active, and he extends special regard to you, all of you. And for 20 years out of 24 means we are deeply grateful for last 20 years of partnership. GREs commenced collaboration with MIT in 20 years. Only 4 years after our privatization and the division of the Japanese National Railways into 7 railway company. GREs has changed dramatically over the last 2 decades, and we have great respect for MIT and its continued global environment and contribution in all fields throughout the world. Actually, as you have already known, on March 11th this year, we have the very great earthquake and tsunami, and we are deeply grateful for you for a heartful message, many messages of encouragement. Due to the earthquake of March 11th, we postponed the ceremony that has been scheduled for April the 7th today. Thank you for your understanding and cooperation in this matter. The challenge. I'd like to briefly explain about our challenge against the earthquake and the tsunami. Of course, you have already known the date and strength, but this time, strength of earthquake, magnitude 9.0 on the Richter scale. This is the largest in the recorded history in Japan. And you can see the number of deaths and missing. And we cover east parts of Japan, and epicenter is here, Tokyo is here. This vertical axis corresponding to a frequency of aftershocks per day. And this vertical axis corresponding to a cumulative number. So this is March the 11th. And after that day, we have more than 550 aftershocks, which surpass the magnitude 5.0, enormous number. And I'd like to explain briefly our countermeasurements. Firstly, reinforced pillars. As for the viaducts, as you can see right now, a seismic reinforcement to prevent shear failure, And aside from cases bending, there was no critical damage to major structures by this aspect because we have already adapted a seismic reinforcement. And also, this slide shows you very well the basic idea of our earthquake early detection system. As you have already known, earthquake is composed of one very simple statement: primary wave and secondary wave. And this is the epicenter. And we have already installed the coastline seismometer derived from the past earthquake. Very, very good lesson derived from the past earthquake. And now primary wave comes first, of course, and our coastline seismometer captures the primary wave. And before the secondary wave came, this signal just was submitted from the coastline seismometer to the power station. And as soon as our power station shut down, emergency brake can be applied. So maybe it's better to repeat it again. Primary wave comes first, and coastline seismometer catches and signal, and the emergency brakes. Such a systems. So two trains running at approximately 170 miles per hour through the Sendai area were exposed to strong shaking from the earthquake at that time. To power supply to these trains was cut 9 to 12 seconds before the first vibration arrived, and the emergency brake were already applied, like this. And the largest vibration came to these trains approximately 70 seconds after the emergency brake were applied. By then, it is supposed that the train had reached a speed of about 63 miles per hour, so reduced speed. So, as for the Shinkansen high-speed rail, we have 27 Shinkansen trains in operation at that time. But according to our seismic reinforcement and early earthquake detection system, as you have already seen, no derailment at all of Shinkansen train in service. And also, as for conventional lines, we have 670 conventional trains in operation at that time. And our station staff and the train crews of endangered trains and stations successfully led our passengers to emergency evacuation places designated in advance by local governments and before tsunami hits. So our consequences of the earthquake and tsunami, no fatalities at all and no injuries at all for passengers. So we would like to extend special gratitude to the United States because, of course, Operation Tomodachi Saksen, Operation Saksen, in Japanese Saksen, Tomodachi Saksen, Operation Tomodachi, just provide us over 20,000 soldiers participate, and also Operation Sword Train, especially for station recovery. So we will never ever forget what you have done for us. Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. So summary for the devastating earthquake, countermeasure against the devastating earthquake and tsunami in Japan. Safety is the JR is top management priority. We have implemented through thorough countermeasures for earthquake and tsunami and other natural disasters in our safety policy. Though the magnitude 9.0 earthquake was the largest ever recorded in the Japanese history, the results show that our countermeasures proved effective. We will examine the result of this time, of course, and derive further lessons from the earthquake and tsunami and continue to improve the safety of our railroad. And also, we share our experience with the world and contribute to the advance of railroad technology in the world. I move to our 20th anniversary topics. This shows you table of contents. Firstly, Shinkansen Innovation. We seek innovation, always seeking innovation, and we will keep doing so with MIT. This shows you the picture from October 1st, 1964, about a half century ago, when the Shinkansen is born. The Shinkansen in Japan has been carrying 8.8 billion passengers so far, and number of miles run, 1,500 million passengers miles. And the average delay time, 6 seconds in the year, including a natural disaster. And the total of fatal accident in the history is zero, none. And Shinkansen, the integration of all available technology, became the world's first high-speed rail. And this shows you our contribution to revolutionary change in the world rail. The first revolutionary change must be the birth of Shinkansen, half century ago, changed the face of transportation and opened the world to the HSR, high-speed rail era. If there were not for Shinkansen today, maybe no other high-speed as well, neither. The second, the charge from JNR, former Japanese National Railways, to the JR Group on 24 years ago, began the worldwide wave of privatization, of course, and next to be seen. This shows you the basic idea of Hayabusa Falcon E5 series. This was debuted March the 5th, but we have the very huge aspect on March the 11th. So it's just run for less than 1 week. But okay, on April 29th, after 49 days after the aspect, it's resumed operation. Hayabusa Falcon. Now I would like to move to second topic, brief overview on JREs. As you have already known, but I'd like to make a brief explanation about our overview. We cover east parts of Honshu main islands, and we have a network for over 7,500 kilometers. And we are carrying 70 million passengers a day. And if I just refer to this figure to the foreign visitors, maybe that's the first time they do not feel it. But actually, we are carrying 70 million passengers a day. And we are operating more than 13,000 trains a day. And revenues, as you can see on this figure. And also, we do not receive any subsidies at all. We do not receive any local subsidy, any federal government subsidy at all. And we have lots of business, but of course, among them, railroad business is very important. And we have three categories: high-speed rail, urban transportation, regional lines. And also, we just praise active lifestyle business, non-transportation business, like office, hotels, retail, shopping in the station, and this is hotel, and sports center, and the resort. This shows you the third business. I have been engaged in the three-car operation, of course, but this shows you the micropayments and tickets. And tickets includes, of course, reservation tickets for the high-speed rail, and also commuting pass, and the normal fares. And of course, we have to have new ideas for the future. Third topic, the significance of MIT and JRE's partnership and the chronology. Just Professor Sussman has already mentioned, our partnership is very significant. And MIT, world's foremost research institute for industrial sciences, and JRE's world's foremost rail firm with largest ridership. So collaboration of the two world leaders leads to JRE's business can reflect MIT technology in its customer services as well as in social sense. And also we can contribute to the advancement and innovation of world technology. This showed you a very good memory, as Professor Sussman has already mentioned. Yamanoshi-san, Sussman-san here, Yamashita-san there, and very good pictures from the first. The same picture as Professor Sussman showed to us. And also a joint research project and reciprocal visit between each other, and students from our company to MIT, of course. So fourth topic, example of the result of our collaboration. Safety. Safety has always been and always be at JREs. We will continue to raise the level of our safety, of course, with MIT. MIT is a world leader in the study of risk assessment methodology and in advanced fields such as nuclear energy and space technology. MIT's strengths match GRE's needs. Example of actual collaborative activities between MIT and GRE's in the history: development of safety assessment, seismic risk assessment, study of train control systems. So I'd like to show 3 examples. Firstly, safety assessment. So vertical axis corresponding to a frequency of occurrence, and horizontal axis corresponds to maximum damage ranking. But anyway, as a result of MIT's academic risk management study, new idea in risk assessment were at our safety research laboratory, as mentioned in our safety vision 2013. Next example shows you a seismic risk assessment and assessing effectiveness of various seismic countermeasures. Third example, study of train control system. So this is just an example. We have many other examples between MIT and GREs. Fifth topics will be the future challenges. We are surrounded by many changing management environment, of course. Shrinking domestic market in Japan, low birth rate and aging society in Japan, and advance of globalization, development of information and the communication technology, namely ICT, and also environmental issues like including CO2 emissions, etc. So today in the world, the reinstatement of public transportation in society is very emphasized, of course, in the United States, especially rail transit is particular. And also, I'd like to skip this slide, but as you have already known, we have surrounded by the movements of globalization, fusion of world economy into a single market, international exchange, tourism including, centralization of political functions, global scale of social issues, and of course increased global competition, bringing about changes in the industrial structure. And a need for optimization of capital, also stockholders, corporations, consumers, and information, and shifting business models. So the GRE has been considered as a very domestic company, but today, GRE group will take on the challenge. This is a very original idea of mine. I strongly believe that we are going to have a further globalization movement, and also we are going to experience the development of ICT, of course. And further globalization and the development of ICT just interact together, I think. The two factors are going to have a strong ties between them and accelerate each other, I think. Of course, according to Moore's law, and also frictionless capitalism by Gres, I think a further interaction, acceleration has occurred, like a cycle. So necessity to adapt the changing environment. This is a very famous word by Charles Darwin, but through the internet, I checked. Some professor said Charles Darwin never said such a thing. But anyway, it is not the strength of the species that survives, nor the most intelligence that survives. It is the one that most adaptable to change. I think, even though Charles Darwin didn't say it in that words, but this is a very important concept. So the GR East group without innovation would be less than nothing. I strongly believe that. And in that case, in the case of innovation in management, mission, innovation in management, revolutionizing the corporate domain, and angles, ICT, customer-oriented service, B2B, B2C. This shows you some examples, my strong belief. Firstly, continuously promoting innovation in our core businesses. This is railroad or a non-transportation business, which can emerge with advanced technology and a new business, which you have at MIT, models born from society's needs to bring about new products. So our innovation, continuous innovation, can emerge with a new technology, like you have, and which will have the chance to succeed in ready market. So we have already a very good example in Suica WiMAX overseas rate project. So it showed you these three examples. I was engaged in the automation of passenger gates. So this is quite innovation in core business. And also we have been thinking about the broadband wires replacing fixed network. It is also some example of innovation in my company. And raising Shinkansen speed up to 200 miles per hour. This is also another example of innovation. Then this tech innovation, continuous innovation, sustainable innovation, can meet with the ICT development in the society. So Suica can be just produced with innovation in my company and the new technology. And also WiMAX in GREs and E5 series, just you have seen on the moving picture. And that leads to the success on the map. So today, about 60 million passengers hold the Suica in conjunction with the PASMO. PASMO is the same card, the very, very same card of the other private railway. So in fact, I see tickets and electric money in Japan today. And also new data communication infrastructure for intra-use and the custom use from these kind of innovation and the new technology. And also, right now we are going to expand our Shinkansen to overseas project. So ICT, I means information, but I think I strongly believe that I means intelligence. And also, C in general means network communication, but I strongly believe that C means customer relationship. And also technology, just as Professor Sussman mentioned, our first chairman, Mr. Yamashita, emphasized, we are the service-oriented industry by the entire technology. We are not the railroad company. We are the company like this. So, GREs will develop its business not only domestically, but also globally. We innovate in management through an international viewpoint using ICT. We will establish an international consulting company the coming November 1st, and to enhance our capacity in proposing overseas projects. So we need change of management environment. We need to adapt to the change of management environment and globalization, and also we seek for innovation in management. So ICT will be indispensable. The strength of MIT matches our needs very much. So finally, I'd like to explain our future study vision. I think to promote study of innovation in customer communication, energy management, and system optimization is vitally important for us. By continuing collaborative relationship with MIT to take a leading role in bringing innovative reform to the rail industry, and to take a preconceived notion in order to effectively contribute to rail industry around the world. So first theme would be innovation customer communication. We need to develop ICT-based applications to conduct effective communication with customers and raise our level of services. I'm personally responsible for quality of service in my company, such as CQO, Chief Quality Officer. And GREs should provide many information to 70 million customers, and also we try to receive many opinions from the customers. So we try to have many information about concerning their needs. So two-way communications. In such a cases, we need MIT's technology. For example, key technology would be sensor network technology, control technology, information processing technology, user interface design, and so on, which you have. And also adapting to the aging society, disadvantaged travelers, foreign travelers, varying environments, and security needs. So revolutionizing station services through ICT. GREs must become synonymous words with innovation. Theme 2, second theme, will be a system optimization. 24 years ago, when we were privatized, we only have 3 systems. But today, has been already expanded to more than 200 systems, around 250. And our group has more than 850 systems in my group company. So we thus covering more than 75 miles kilometers and also we are carrying 70 million passengers, as I have already mentioned, and we are operating more than 13,000 trains a day. So to further optimize safety, stability, and the cost of systems, we by all means want to make use of study disciplines, such as the system of systems engineering, along with findings of MIT research. This shows you a basic idea. Vertical axis corresponds to a difficulty in marketing procurement. Horizontal corresponds to contribution to level of competitivity. And our system includes financial affairs and also operating management, accounting, and so on. So train control here, income management here, accounting here, such a things. And how is data held? What is the most effective method of data linkage? What is most cost effective? So we want to optimize systems company-wide without interrupting operations. So we are going to classify more than 250 systems like this. For the third one, energy management, CO2 carbon dioxide management. To contribute to the environment as a whole, stations and communities all need to manage energy efficiently. We need to make use of measurements devices such as smart meters as central element to our energy system, and to optimize energy use and energy conservation. There is, with its own hydraulic and thermal power plants, we have 2 power plants. This is one single company which holds 2 power plants as a railway company on one side and railway hotels on the other side. So we have supply side and also we have consuming side. So environment in multiple aspects of society is our strength point. We have 2 power plants, one thermal, one hydraulic, and we have trains, of course, and we have many technology for regenerate the electricity and also powering, and hotels, stations, car rentals, and also renewable energies. So we need strong energy management, like a smart grid. So in conclusion, 2 world leaders collaborating with each other will bring about a synergistic effect that can be driving force in the world. A very happy past 20 years for MIT materials. Maybe I'll do it again. Yeah. So many times.
Oh, Mr. Ogata, that was an inspiring talk, and I know you've had a very appreciative audience. Back in March, when the disaster occurred in Japan, and the April 7th event needed to be postponed, you and I talked about the fact that when you were able to have the event, it would be a symbol of the rebirth of JR East and of the important and symbolizing the importance that the rebirth of JR East has to the nation of Japan as an iconic and productive member of that society. So in some sense, we celebrate also today the fact of the extraordinary recovery of your railroad and the extraordinary recovery of your nation. Your focus on innovation is of vital importance. Without innovation, as you said, there's nothing. Nobel laureate Professor Solow here at MIT has demonstrated for many years the relationship between innovation and economic growth, and your company is an example of that. So, thank you so much for an excellent talk. Our final speaker is Professor Claude Canizares, who serves as the Vice President of Research and Associate Provost here at MIT. He is highly time constrained today with the MIT Corporation meeting, so certainly we don't want JR East to make anybody wait, and Emily himself. It wouldn't be fair to do it otherwise. So let me, with no further ado, turn the program over to Claude. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Joe, for the kind introduction. Chairman Ogata, Mr. Arai, Consul Hirai, welcome, and all the distinguished members of the JR East delegation. It's my great pleasure on behalf of MIT to welcome you back once again to what I hope you see as your second home, away from home. Chairman Ogata gave a really marvelous presentation, I will say, that captures so much about both our past successes and our great accomplishments, but very much also forward-looking to decide where and chart a path to the next 20 years. And that is very much in the tradition of MIT. And I was struck by quite a number of things in your presentation. First of all, of course, as Professor Sussman has already mentioned, there were so many of us who were really appalled by the tragedy that struck Japan just some months ago. I think even before you told us what you told us today, we, like the rest of the world, have been unbelievably impressed and look with such great admiration to Japan, to the resilience of the people, to the nobility with which they have faced this tragedy and recovered, and to the resilience of great institutions like JR East to make that happen. But I must say, the statistics that you showed, those two large zeros for fatalities and injuries in the huge JR East transportation network, is really admirable. And I would like my MIT colleagues to extend our appreciation to you. As your presentation so admirably showed, MIT and JR East share so many things in common. Most importantly, the fundamental values of innovation, of looking forward, and of serving both our mutual and also the world economies, but very much the people that to whom these are so important. Our relationship with JR East is of great importance to us for quite a few reasons. Transportation is very much at the heart of so many of the key issues that face humanity. As you know, MIT now has a major transportation initiative. In some sense, JR East was in the vanguard of that, and it's because of relationships like this one that we were able to consolidate those into a major transportation initiative. And Cindy Bartonhart, who's here, has helped really lead that effort, as Professor Sussman. The importance of transportation both to economic well-being and economic growth, something of great interest in both our countries at the present time, indeed to the world, but moreover to human well-being. Because it is so much at the center of human activity in urban settings, between urban settings, in food distribution, and in making a major contribution towards solving the energy problems and the climate problems that the entire world faces. So these are issues that are absolutely at the core of what we must do. MIT here in Cambridge, Mass. cannot address these issues alone. We can't even define all the problems alone. We really need partnerships like the one with JR East, and it's almost a model for how that can work. Our students and our faculty are keenly interested in understanding the immediate difficulties and problems that industry is facing and in helping to contribute to their solutions. We are very much, we think, in a partnership like with JR East, creating something that is much greater than the sum of our parts. Your statements about the vision for the future, I think, resonate extremely well at MIT with our vision for the future. Innovation, we are convinced, is absolutely the key element that's going to allow the world to overcome the great many challenges, both in energy and climate, in urban development, and in economy. And so with those common values and those common shared vision for the future, we think the next 20 years promise to be at least as fruitful, we hope, if not more fruitful than the last 20. So thank you very much. Congratulations to everyone who brought us to this 20-year celebration, and we look forward to 20 more years of excellent cooperation.
An excellent summation. Surely the kinds of work that MIT is doing in its Age Lab, its focus on complex socio-technical systems, the energy initiative, all of these connect beautifully with the kinds of initiatives that J.R. East has put on the table, and I appreciate your kind words about the relationship. So I'd like now to invite both Mr. Ogata and Professor Canizares back to the podium for what will be a very nice, very nice ritual. So that is for you to excuse me, I got it back. Sorry.
There are no labels. Let it be said.
So perhaps you two can exchange gifts, and perhaps we can all see what is in those.
So this is the model for E5 series for high-speed rail. Just you have seen on the screen.
Oh, wonderful.
And this is also a E6 series. So these trains coupled together makes the high-speed train, of course. So right by MIT and JR. So thank you. The green one is so-called E5 series, running at 200 miles per hour. Just you have seen on the picture. Yes. Collaboration. Yes.
Oh, that's lovely. Well, I must say something that I neglected to say in my comments, but I just flew back from Washington yesterday. I go back and forth to Washington many times. I wish. Let me, on behalf of MIT and all your many friends here, also.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes, I can do that. Wow, great.
Now, this is an MIT clock, and I might suggest if you put this in your office that you set it to Eastern time.
Eastern time.
To remind you.
That's a good idea. Thank you very much. We always going to look at the MIT time. Okay. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you all for coming to this reception. When Claude made reference to the lack of trains on the Northeast Corridor, I must share with you that every time my friends from JR East visit, there is currently no nonstop service Tokyo to Boston, although we are hopeful it will happen. So they always fly into New York, And I always say, oh my God, they're going to take the Acela Express up to Boston. And they're going to wonder what this nation is about, if this is what we call high-speed rail. So thank you all for your participation. We have a reception in the room immediately to our left, and we hope you will all join us, and thank you for being part of this great celebration. Yeah.